Hello friends, welcome back to my channel Mukesh English, and this is Mukesh Soni. Friends, in this video I'm going to give you the complete summary, a complete detailed study of the famous play titled Dance Like a Man by Mahesh Dattani. If you watch this video, you will get a comprehensive study of both the acts of Dance Like a Man, Act 1, Act 2. So you need not study the play line by line. Here you will get the complete comprehensive study, a complete detailed study of both the acts, Act 1 and Act 2 of Dance Like a Man. So without much delay, let's begin it. The introduction about the play. Mahesh Dattani's play Dance Like a Man is one of the best plays written by an Indian in English. That is Mahesh Dattani. He is one of the finest and the most prominent playwrights in India. He is the first playwright in English to have won the Sahitya Academy Award. Dance Like a Man is a two-act stage play, and the story revolves around three generations, their personal ambition, their sacrifices, their struggle and compromises, internal conflict, and the way they cope up with the life, and dance being the major topic of discussion in the house because it's a topic of debate between the father and his son and daughter-in-law. So let's begin. Here we go for the Act 1, and before we go for the Act 1, let's know about the characters. So Jairaj is the husband of Ratna, Amrit Lal is the father of Jairaj, Lata is the daughter of Ratna, and Vishwas is the husband of Lata. So it's very simple. Amrit Lal has a son, Jairaj, and Jairaj's wife, Ratna. Lata is the daughter of Jairaj and Ratna. She's married. She's married with Vishwas. So let's begin the Act 1. Act 1 begins. The Act 1 is set in a dimly lit room in an old house in the city. It features a large arched doorway leading to a modern rear panel that can slide open to reveal a garden. So there's a dance practice hall on the left, a staircase to bedrooms on the right, and the another exit to the kitchen. The furniture is old, which is about 40 years old furniture. So this is the stage setup. Now the characters are on stage. Lata and Vishwas enter with Vishwas commenting about the awkwardness of his meeting with Lata's parents, who are late. Lata explains there was an emergency with a musician. They joke about Lata's parents not being eager to meet Vishwas, and they discuss the topics like wedding details and family connections. Vishwas expresses concern over what Lata's parents think of him. Lata assures him they are not overly worried. The conversation ends with a humorous exchange about the parents and their perspective. Lata is the only heir to a valuable property in the center of town. A builder offered her father 90 lakhs to develop a shopping complex, but he would never sell it because her parents have lived there their whole life. Lata shows Vishwas the dance hall, which is filled with the instruments which are nearly 40 years old. She picks up dancing bells that belong to her father, feeling a strong connection to the past. Lata expresses her desire to practice there even after marriage and hopes Vishwas will support her dreams. So she's talking about how her mother and her father they are in the dance practices. Even even Lata is also would like to continue her dance profession even after marriage. Lata thanks Vishwas and holds the bells to her eyes before placing them back on the floor. Vishwas reminds her not to thank him since the floor cannot handle too much dancing. They discuss not having children right away but might consider it later. Lata mentions she was born when her parents were about 40, while Vishwas suggests adopting a child to practice on until they have their own. Lata asks if he wants many children. When he agrees, She jokes that he should marry someone else. They settle down on having one child first, which is absolutely, perhaps twins. Lata thinks about making coffee for Vishwas, but they debate the necessity of it, with neither showing a strong desire for coffee. They mention tea, but Lata explains that they don't make tea in the house. Vishwas continues to joke about her being a South Indian and insists that her father should drink tea. They argue about whether Lata's mother dominates her father, with Vishwas questioning the influence her mother has on has on him. Lata tells Vishwas about her grandfather, who was a social reformer and had a significant influence on her father. They discuss the history of her family and the house filled with her father's furniture, which her father refuses to sell. Her grandfather's furniture, which her father, Jairaj, does not want to sell. Vishwas comments that the room feels like an antique shop. They note the contrast with the living room furniture. Lata explains that only musicians and dancers are allowed inside, and during their conversation, they realize they need to check on the parents, and Lata attempts to use the phone, which Vishwas discovers as a dummy piece. Vishwas looks around the room and expresses concern about his in-laws. While Lata speaks on the phone, he is intrigued or maybe disturbed by an ornate cupboard. Lata talks to Muthu uncle about her parents and learns that her father has multiple fractures and in an accident. She promises to visit her father and take some payasam along. She moves to the kitchen. Vishwas asks where she is going. She mentions making coffee and offer to make bonvita for him. Vishwas admires the cupboard and Lata tells him it contains more books. When Vishwas opens it, he discovers a beautiful shawl expressing his desire to ask for it as dowry, but Lata informs him it's a family heirloom that is not for sale. So Lata explains the shawl's significance, revealing it was a gift from the Mysore Maharaja to her grandfather, who preferred traditional attire over Western suits. As Lata goes to work in the kitchen, Vishwa suggests watching her make coffee, but she declines, saying it would make her nervous. He says that I want to see you. How do you make coffee? But she says, no, I'll get nervous. Vishwas is aware that his mother will want to watch too. Lata exits and Vishwas mentions his mother's sharp observations. Vishwas wanders here and there, hesitates with a book before hearing a phone ring and realizes it's in the living room. Lata calls for him to answer it. He fumbles with the call and pretending to be the butler. Takes a message from a caller. Lata enters and asks who it is, but he tells her it was someone inquiring about a vacancy for a butler. She's surprised that butlers still exist and she leaves the room. I'm sorry. After the conversation, Vishwas is curious about the cupboard again and secretly tries on the shawl. He makes a fun of Lata's grandfather in a very dramatic manner, pretending to scold a dancer, unaware that Jairaj and Ratna Parekh have entered. He doesn't know. He doesn't know her in-laws. They have only entered. When they catch him in the act, Vishwas awkwardly tries to apologize while folding the shawl clumsily. Ratna takes the shawl, folds it neatly, returns it to the cupboard, while Vishwas sits down awkwardly and an uncomfortable silence fills the room. Now Lata enters. She notices that everyone is quiet. She mentions she talked to Muthu uncle, who said the guest had already left, and asked what took them so long. She has made coffee for them and bonvita for the guest, who dislikes instant coffee. Lata then apologizes for interrupting and leaves. The others stare at each other and Ratna expresses concern about the situation, insisting it is terrible. Jairaj, Ratna's husband, tries to calm her down, saying it's not a crisis. Ratna disagrees and worries about what they will do, while Vishwas confused and suggests he doesn't want to be seen as a problem. Jairaj explains they were not talking about him but about their own issues. So still we don't know on what issues they are still facing it as a like a great problem. Now finally Ratna reveals that they have only 10 days to solve the problem and they consider Sheshadri as a possible replacement musician. Ratna dismisses this idea, expressing doubt about Sheshadri's availability. The discussion brings up memories from the past, leading to more tension between Ratna and Jairaj. Vishwas tries to contribute and feels out of place as they navigate their frustrations. Lata returns with coffee and Bonvita and asks how everyone is feeling. Ratna insists they are not thinking of Vishwas. They discuss the real issue. What's the real issue? That their mridangist, the person who plays the mridangist Srinivas broke his arm. The mood turns serious as they panic about the performance because Lata and Ratna and Jera, the performance. Lata promises she will dance at the fest regardless of the situation. Lata says that I will dance, doesn't matter. Ratna continues to express her worries while Jairaj tries to downplay the urgency. Tensions rise as Ratna blames Jairaj and recalls the struggles of the past, implying that dance has brought no benefit to their lives. Lata tries to assure her parents and moves to comfort them, mentioning that she is determined to perform. Vishwas, feeling unwelcome, he says that let me leave, I would like to go. But Jairaj asks him to stay. As they find the troubled dynamics, Lata suggests she might sleep in a mother's room that night, hinting at family's issues. Jairaj then pours himself a drink and offers Vishwas some whiskey, remarking remarking on his hidden drink. He speaks about his hidden drinking habits. Jairaj and Vishwas they share a moment of camaraderie amidst the chaos, like the soldiers trying to bond over their respective difficulties, navigating the strain within the family. They drink in silence, reflecting on the day's events. So, what happens later? Vishwas asks Jairaj what is worrying him, but Jairaj clarifies it's not worry that troubles him, rather a feeling of stagnation in life. Now both of them are drinking. Jairaj reflects on his life and business, mentioning his father's success in the building trade, while Vishwas shares that his father runs a mithai shop. Vishwas says, my father runs a mithai shop, doing well enough financially. There's no problem. Jairaj reminds about his father, a wealthy man, who foolishly loaned money to friends and family under the guise of patriotism. Vishwas notices he would not receive loans from his father, which leads to Jairaj sharing that he felt disconnected from his father, especially after being ridiculed for his ambitions in a craft he felt defined him. He sarcastically acknowledges his bravely following his own path, yet he admits it feels like nothing significant ever happened in his life. So Jairaj is quite like he's feeling that he could not do well in his life. As they discuss their fathers, Vishwas mentions that Jairaj, Lata told him Jairaj respects his father. Jairaj downplays this, mentioning that he kept the shared home as a remember of his childhood, not in honor of his father. He explains that after his father passed, He removed all traces of the gardens his father maintained, indicating a separation from that part of his life. When Vishwas jokingly asked about a shawl belonging to Jairaj's father, Jairaj unexpectedly offers it, showing a moment of kindness. He offers the shawl to Vishwas. They discuss Vishwas and Lata's impending marriage. Jairaj expresses surprise that Vishwas is thankful not just for the shawl but for Jairaj's approval of their marriage. Jairaj instructs Vishwas to speak to his father. After Vishwas leaves, Jairaj prepares to drink again, indicating he may have a habit of using alcohol to cope with his feelings. Now Ratna enters, Jairaj's wife, revealing she is not feeling well and inquiring about Lata's whereabouts. Jairaj admits to having drinks with Vishwas. He says that I had drink with Vishwas. Ratna immediately suspects he has been drinking heavily. They discuss Jairaj's hidden liquor supply and Ratna's occasional need for alcohol to calm her nerves. Jairaj attempts to lighten the mood with jokes, reminiscing or remembering about the relationship, but quickly the shifts to a deeper conversation about their past decisions. So now they start discussing about the past, what kind of decisions they had taken. Jairaj questions if they would have been happier had they never returned from the previous situation. This sparks tension as Ratna defends her views and the past choices. Jairaj feels slighted, expressing hurt over feelings he believes she has hidden throughout the marriage. Ratna tries to explain her anxieties about the daughter Lata's potential career as a performer. So the topic flows into the collective struggles and hopes for Lata's success, with Jairaj bitterly sarcastic, while Ratna passionately desires for the daughter to flourish and become celebrated. So she has a lot of high expectations for her daughter. They discuss how they plan to help ensure Lata's success through strategic planning, including garnering support from influential uh, critics, including the support from the critics also. Jairaj casually mentions that he has agreed to Lata and Vishwas marrying. Ratna seems approving of Vishwas, and Jairaj continues reflecting on him after Ratna exits. He holds the shawl again, contemplating its significance, reinforcing the complex emotions which are tied to memories and family connections. As he considers placing it back in the, he thinks, let me put it back in the cupboard. Jairaj talks to himself about his last memory, expressing a desire to be free from the sight of someone in a shawl walking around the room. As he wears the shawl, the scene shifts to Rose Garden, where he and the other characters transform into different roles in the 1940s. Now, Amrit Lal. Now, as we know, the scene goes back in the flashback, and here in the flashback, we find Jairaj's father. And Jairaj's father, Amrit Lal, is calling Jairaj. So, we are going to the flashback, right? A past. So, here, Amrit Lal in 1940s, Amrit Lal calls Jairaj, who is distracted by dance practice. Their conversation reveals a disagreement about the ongoing music and dance, with Amrit Lal wanting the musicians to leave before guests arrive, while Jairaj insists they cannot be interrupted. Ratna enters. See, it's a flashback story. When Amrit Lal was alive, Ratna enters the early days of Jairaj and Ratna. Ratna enters, reminding Jairaj that the musicians want coffee, leading to further discussion with Amritlal about the noise in the house. Tension grows as they argue about Jairaj's passion for dance, with Amritlal questioning its value, hinting at his disapproval of Jairaj's wife influencing him. Jairaj counters by pointing out that Amritlal had his obsessions and asserts the independence to pursue his art. The conversation goes on and it into a clash of ideals about tradition, progress, and societal because Amritlal is against his son for practicing the dance. Ratna attempts to mediate and gets coffee for the musicians while still trying to understand what caused the tension rift between Jairaj and Amritlal. Amritlal expresses his disapproval of Ratna visiting an elderly woman who represents a traditional dance form, insisting on protecting his family's reputation. Ratna passionately defends her actions and the importance of learning the art from the elderly dancer, emphasizing the woman's desire to pass down her knowledge. So he doesn't want that his daughter-in-law should go out of the house and get practice for dance. He wants let her practice at home. Despite the tension, Ratna stands firm in her beliefs and declares her intention to continue learning regardless of Amritlal's disapproval. However, Amritlal remains obstinate about restricting her movements and demands that she stops visiting the elderly woman, and this leads to a heated confrontation. The argument continues with Jairaj feeling frustrated over his father's interference in his life and art. After the musicians leave, Ratna questions Amritlal's concerns and reflects on their shared struggles, trying to balance personal desires with family expectations. Jairaj then confronts his father again, reminding him of past promises regarding his pursuits. So, further, in a final act of defiance to justify, Amritlal decides to take action by calling someone is here Patel. He calls somebody Patel, asking for a favor in regard to Ratna's visit with the elderly woman. So he arranges a doctor to visit her and expresses his intention to donate money, revealing an underlying wish to protect the family name even as tension continues to simmer among the characters. So finally, in the Act 1, we find here Ratna appreciates Amritlal's generosity. Amritlal explains that it was compensation for taking away her student. Jairaj enters with clothes packed in a sari, telling Ratna they are leaving. When Ratna questions where they are going, Jairaj insists they will decide later and urges to leave the house. So they are leaving the house now because Amritlal is not accepting their dreams. Ratna worries they haven't packed everything, but Jairaj is adamant they don't need much. He says they will no longer be under anyone's care and they exit together. The scene shifts to a living room with Amritlal, who is becoming an older Jairaj. Ratna enters, looking for Jairaj, discussing Lata's sleeping habits and potential issues with Sheshadri. So that was a past flashback. Now we are coming back in the same room where where Lata will also come, right? Where Ratna and Jairaj they are discussing about the daughter's sleeping habits and the potential issues with the Sheshadri. So now the Act 2 begins. So in the 1940s, Jairaj and Ratna are quietly listening as Amritlal scolds them. So let's go back in the life of Ratna and Jairaj, the early life. They have returned home, so now they left home and now they could not stay away from the house. They have come back under the umbrella of Amritlal. They have returned home 2 days after leaving. Just after 2 days, they have come back, clearly feeling defeated. Amritlal acknowledges their return, admitting he does not take pleasure in it, but he refuses to let their silence turn into hate. He expresses his willingness to allow them to dance and earn a living from it. But it's clear that he will not provide them money, having invested because he has already invested somewhere. He's a businessman. He permits them to use his library for practice and his permission for the guru to visit. So finally, Amritlal has accepted the dance practice. Jairaj affirms he understands Amritlal's stance and prepares to leave. Amritlal warns him not to grow his hair longer. He tells his son. He then addresses Ratna, indicating she does not need to learn from anyone else. Ratna sarcastically claims they are happy, to which Amritlal questions whether that is true. Ratna and Amritlal they discuss what happens, what is happiness, what is the meaning of happiness. Ratna implying Jairaj's understanding of happiness does not align with Amritlal's expectations. Simply they discuss about happiness. In this discussion, Amritlal recognizes Ratna's intelligence and asks about her feelings when dancing with Jairaj. Ratna insists she married Jairaj for his dancing. Amritlal doubts the sincerity behind the reason and points out that the decision regarding her dancing ultimately lies with him. He expresses concern that if Jairaj dances, he may not reach his potential, while Ratna expresses determination to help him grow up. After some hesitation, Ratna agrees to help Jairaj mature. Amritlal suggests that once Jairaj stops dancing, he should be made worthy of Ratna. Ratna leaves as Amritlal's demeanor shifts and scene transitions to reflect an old Jairaj who is now in a living room with Ratna. So now we are coming back to old Jairaj with Ratna. So there are a lot of switchover of the scene. A phone rings. They discuss a call from Dr. Gowda expressing gratitude for flowers sent to the daughter Lata. Ratna excitedly shares compliment about Lata's recent performance and acknowledges the importance of such praise coming from someone knowledgeable about dance. They continue discussing an upcoming festival in Canada where their daughter may have a chance for recognition. Amritlal's earlier warnings linger as Jairaj voices his disapproval of Ratna's eagerness in a conversation with Dr. Gowda. The phone rings again. Ratna speaks with Sheshadri, reassuring him about a minor mistake during a performance and discussing the nomination of Chandra Kala to choose dancer for the festival. She supports her friend while also emphasizing her genuine feelings for the situation. Vishwas enters excitedly with rave reviews for Lata's performance, energizing the atmosphere. Both Jairaj and Vishwas eagerly read through the papers, highlighting the praises Lata received, including her talent and potential compared to legendary dancers. The enthusiasm grows as Lata arrives to hear the reviews, and both men applaud her. Ratna offers congratulations, and Lata expresses disbelief at her newfound fame, acknowledging her mother's role in pushing her forward. So the humorous moments continue as they share together over Lata's previous performance, mishaps, and critics' comments. Amid light banter about missed cues and the interpretations of a dance, Vishwas, hesitant at first, agrees he loved Lata's performance, even though initially he had the reservations about her performance. The conversation has a lot of humor, pride, since they reflect on Lata's achievements, which shows a kind of supporting family dynamics, even there's a lot of competitive pressures. Jairaj mentions that his wife danced the same item 30 years ago. Vishwas expresses admiration for her courage. Lata asks if Vishwas thinks it should not be done. Vishwas, who is feeling uncomfortable, he says he doesn't know much about these things. Jairaj challenges him, saying that Vishwas seems confident enough to judge. Vishwas clarifies that he's not judging, just sharing his opinion. Jairaj acknowledges Vishwa's opinion as valid. Vishwas admits he's not knowledgeable and also mentions that Lata's dancing adds a personal connection to his feelings. Jairaj pushes him to clarify his thoughts, leading to the conclusion that he doesn't want Lata to dance erotic numbers. Lata feels the term erotic numbers is very crude, and Jairaj insists there's nothing wrong with it since he performed similarly for an army event wearing women's clothing. Vishwas admires Jairaj's courage and affirms that while he doesn't object to Lata dancing, he believes it doesn't need to be so explicit. Lata points out that the dance was choreographed by her father decades ago and gained international acclaim. Vishwas agrees that if Lata wants to dance, no one can Stop her. Jairaj comments on how fortunate Lata is to be able to dance freely now. Lata asks Vishwas if he wants to stop her, but he doesn't answer directly, recalling a previous conversation where they discussed different approaches. After a moment, Vishwas expresses a hope that Jairaj will teach Lata more about dance forms. He excuses himself to tend to business at the shop. There's a light-hearted exchange about a multi-storied sweets complex. Jairaj thinks Vishwas is a bit odd. Lata recognizes his quirks but believes everyone is a bit strange. Vishwas re-enters hesitantly, suggesting they check on Lata's mother, who is crying in the kitchen. Lata rushes to see her mother, leaving Jairaj and Vishwas together. Vishwas offers to stay, but decides to leave instead, commenting on the strangeness of the people he is dealing with. Lata returns with her mother, Ratna. They talk about making coffee. Jairaj questions Lata about what took her so long in the kitchen. He inquires about Ratna's mood, implying it might relate to the excitement over Lata's performance that just concluded. Ratna confirms she doesn't want to lie down, and when asked if she has changes in mood, she suggests everyone experiences them. Jairaj then jokes about drinking to avoid crying. He says that why don't you drink? You can avoid your crying. Tries to steer the conversation towards their daughter, Lata. Jairaj asks Ratna if she's happy, and she responds very positively, expressing her pride in Lata's potential and achievements. Ratna says she will support Lata in her future endeavors, including getting her into foreign festivals. Jairaj brings up the reviews of Lata's performance, and when Ratna says she has not read them, Jairaj challenges her, revealing that Vishwas brought the papers. Ratna insists she will read the reviews now, claiming to already know they were good. Just a minute. Jairaj suggests that Ratna wants to celebrate Lata's success while also seeking validation for her own hard work. Ratna insists on preserving Lata's reviews in the album, which sparks a dispute about whose album it truly belongs in. Jairaj labels her desire as a pretense, reinforcing that Lata deserved the praise for her talent. He soon breaks up the argument, directing the family to breakfast as they hear Lata is calling for breakfast. Ratna expresses reluctance to eat and exits, holding on to the reviews. Jairaj attempts to reassure her about her daughter's accomplishments, but Ratna is overcome with emotions and breaks down, leaving the room. The scene transitions with flute music indicating a shift in time and setting. In a flashback, Ratna, now let's go to back. Flashback. Ratna and Jairaj enter their home after an event. Flashback means to say in their early age, Javani mein, I mean soon after marriage. Ratna and Jairaj enter their home after an event. Jairaj is noisy and drunk, joking about the baby. Ratna asks him to quiet down. He engages playfully about the baby while also reflecting ironically on the challenges of the relationship. Ratna insists on her priorities, mentioning the need for Aya to look after the child. The conversation reveals a mix of affection and frustration in the marriage, compounded by mixed by Jairaj drinking and aspects of jealousy, which is related to Ratna's career. It shows he is jealous of Ratna's success. They both reflect on their lives, highlighting the tension between personal ambitions and the relationship dynamics. Ratna ultimately expresses her desire for Jairaj to change and for some meaningful communication in their life together. So that's in the flashback. And on stage, what do we see? The younger couple. The younger couple is ready to dance, salute the audience while the music builds up and the spotlight fade. And here, the play Dance Like a Man by Mahesh Dattani ends here. So, friends, this is how I have tried to summarize the both the acts. Both the acts I have tried to summarize. Hope you have liked this video. And for more videos on this particular act, you can watch my previous videos on critical study, character sketches, and the brief summary also. You can watch my previous videos also. Links are available in the description box. Thank you so much for watching this video. And if you have any questions or if you would like to reach me, you can reach me at mukeshenglish@gmail.com. If you are not yet subscribed my channel, please do subscribe the channel. Thank you once again.